I'm Ben Michaelis from the Midas Touch Network. Donald Trump continues to humiliate himself in the $500 million federal lawsuit he filed against Michael Cohen. I guess, let me retract that. I guess he can't humiliate himself if you have no shame. In any event, Donald Trump keeps proving what a coward he is and, again, how frivolous this case that he filed against Michael Cohen is. He filed it in the federal court in the Southern District of Florida. Donald Trump has been trying to desperately escape the deposition that Michael Cohen is trying to take of Donald Trump. Donald Trump begged the judge to allow the deposition first to take place after the 2024 election. Then Donald Trump claimed that it would be too embarrassing. And he actually said this in an emotion. It would be too embarrassing and humiliating for him to sit for a deposition. The judge rejected that request. Then on the eve of a deposition which was supposed to take place last week, Donald Trump, his lawyer, said, "Please, judge, we need one more extension because we want to bring on a lawyer who is going to sit there with Donald Trump to help Donald Trump invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination in a case that Donald Trump filed against Michael Cohen." So Donald Trump brought the case and now wants to invoke his Fifth Amendment rights. That's one of the reasons they asked for an extension. Anyway, the federal judge gave one final extension, but now there is a court-ordered deposition for October 3rd. The judge said, "Come hell or high water, we are making sure that deposition takes place." So, Michael Cohen will be taking Donald Trump's deposition on October 3rd, 2023. Now, one of the things that Donald Trump is doing as well, this new filing in the case, it's called an initial disclosure that has to be filed in federal court. It's under Rule 26F. It's mandatory that the parties put forward their witness list, their damages, and usually, in a case of import, you have dozens and dozens of witnesses. Michael Cohen's initial disclosures and Cohen's initial disclosures have a ton of witnesses. Donald Trump's initial disclosures, guess what, has two witnesses, Michael Cohen and Donald Trump. This is who Donald Trump is saying are the only people who have information in his $500 million ridiculous, frivolous lawsuit that he sued Michael Cohen to try to destroy Michael Cohen's life. Trump says only he and Michael Cohen know the information. By the way, if you don't include other people on your Rule 26F initial disclosures, it is a waiver of your right to then, at trial, if you don't supplement it, as a waiver of your right to trial, to then call additional witnesses. But again, Donald Trump's lawyers and Donald Trump continue to engage in these despicable, frivolous, bizarre, and frankly idiotic tactics in court. As a lawyer, like, what in the world are they even doing? I want to hear directly, I don't know, you do too, from Michael Cohen about these latest developments. And one of the things Cohen tells me as well is that Donald Trump's lawyer is still not providing the time and a location for Donald Trump to be deposed on October 3rd. Alright, let me bring in Michael Cohen right now, my co-host on Political Beatdown. Go and take it away. So yesterday, pursuant to the court's directive, both side my attorney Danya Perry and Ben Brodsky were required to provide disclosure documents to tell the court. And the plaintiff is counsel Alejandro Brito, who we anticipate calling as a witness in order to defend the position. So, we have over a dozen people that we're calling as witnesses, and the document has been filed. So, it's certainly on pacer for review if anybody feels like doing that. But we have well over a dozen people, maybe 14, 15 to be exact. And then, several hours later, after, of course, the time period expired, Brito then sends to my counsel, who then forwards it to me, the disclosure list by plaintiff Donald J. Trump against me. And there are two people that are on this disclosure list. Can you guess who those two people are? Is one of them you? Yes. And is the other one him? Donald. Yes, excellent. Excellent. You know, the funny thing is, you joke about it, you're not really sure because it's ridiculous. I mean, how do you bring a $500 million lawsuit against an individual for statements for damages when the only two people who you anticipate calling to be a witness at this trial are you, the plaintiff, and the defendant? Clearly, I can't agree with anything that he said because it's just frivolous, and it's just not true. And what is he going to do? He's going to get on the stand and turn around and say, well, I think that cell phone is worth $10,000, and because I think it, therefore, it is. Such a waste of time and money, and the court's time. We do now have a court-ordered deposition date of October 3rd, the day after the New York Attorney General case begins. Alina Habba making a real legal error on behalf of her client. But as it relates to the deposition, we still have not been successful, despite the fact it is going forward on October 3rd because it's subject to a court order we don't know where yet, and we also don't have the exact time. So once, of course, we have that, your viewers would be, of course, the first to know. Now, putting all that aside, let's run now, Ben, to the New York Attorney General case, which starts the day before the deposition. And I do want to remind everybody that one of the problems that Trump was trying to have the case put on a stay, or at least having his deposition stayed within 90 days after the election, is because he made a claim. Well, had his lawyer make a claim that the information that he might have to provide pursuant to the deposition, pursuant to questions from my counsel, could potentially cause him to provide incriminating information against him that would be subject to a Fifth Amendment claim of right against self-incrimination. I mean, this is truly spectacular on any level. I mean, you've seen and you've been around the table as lawyers come up and try to concoct crazy sorts of things like an economic force majeure, which we did for Chicago. Never done before, never even. The judge did not even know what the hell we were talking about. Yet we won on that specific case. I have no idea what he's talking about here. I don't think anybody has an idea that you can't answer questions on a deposition that's the result of a lawsuit that you brought, predicated on averments in that complaint that I need to defend myself on. That you can't answer those questions because it could implicate you in other legal matters that are currently pending, and that you need to have another lawyer there. And I think it's Chris Kise that is going to be there, in order to ensure that he invokes his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. It's so mind-bogglingly ridiculous. I mean, I speak to friends of mine who are attorneys for 30+ years, and, you know, in essence, we laugh about it. It's so ridiculous. It's like going into Carvel and asking for an ice cream, but ask them to put it in your hand instead of a cup or a cone. I mean, or put it on a napkin. It's so stupid, right? There's no other way to describe this. So, that's going forward. Again, we're still waiting for Alejandro Brito to agree to the location and the time. Man, I love hosting Political Beatdown with Michael Cohen. By the way, Michael Cohen right now is posting his childhood photos, and he has this whole series of Cohen's biography. Check out some of these photos that Cohen's posting. This one's of his grandma. This one is him as a kid. On patreon.com/POLITICALBEATDOWN. You could even get to meet Michael Cohen on the Patreon. So, go to patreon.com/POLITICALBEATDOWN. Get access to the Beatdown Club that Michael Cohen's created. And then we'll be announcing a Zoom where you can meet Michael Cohen as well. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million. We're already there. 2 million subscribers. Hit subscribe right now on our YouTube. And again, check out patreon.com/POLITICALBEATDOWN. Have a great day. Hey, Mita's Mighty, love this report. Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at Mita's Touch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.